Hello everyone, well, and welcome to our new lesson, which is going to be about English language. Today's lesson is going to be about phrasal verbs. It's for the first year students, baccalaureate students, and it's going to be done by Laziz Aitalbali. I am a teacher from the delegation of Chefchaouen. Right, so I hope that this lesson you are going to benefit from it. Right. So, in this lesson, you will learn to do the following. The first thing you are going to do is define phrasal verbs, because you know, most students have this problem of phrasal verbs. They don't know. They hear the word, they hear this term, but they don't have an idea about that. And this is what we are going to do through this lesson. Then, we're going to list some phrasal verbs. We're going to have a list about some most common phrasal verbs with giving some definitions of them. Then in the end, we're going to, all these things here, you're going to be able to understand the meaning and usage of verb with preposition or adverb. Right. So, let's have a look at this dialogue here between Latifa and Fatima. So Latifa said, "Did you see Karim?" And she said, "He took off early." Took off? What does that mean? Right, it's a phrasal verb. All right. So, concerning here, we're going to, a verb sometimes combines with an adverb or a preposition to form a phrasal verb. Right. So, in general, in English, we have verbs that, for example, like play, listen, speak, go, watch. Right. So, for example, we have verb play. When you put it in a sentence, it gives us, right, a sentence like that, which is understood and which is clear. As you can see, we use verb play. We have here listen, for example. It's right. We speak. English, right? For example, I go to school. So as you can see, we have verb listen, we have speak, and we have go. And all these verbs have meaning, a clear one, as you can see there. On the other side here, as you can see, for example, when we have this one, we have up here, which is considered as a preposition. So tell me up here, what's the opposite of up? Yeah, that's it. It's down. Give me another preposition which is in. The opposite of it is out. Right. So these words or these expressions here are called prepositions. So let's take a verb from here. For example, let's take speak. And let's add, for example, up to it. So as you can see, meaning will change, will completely change, which means speak. We are going to move from speak, which is uttering words and talking, into speak up, which means to raise one's voice. For example, in your class, when your teacher, or when you are reading in a low voice, your teacher tells you, all right, could you speak up please, right? Which means, would you raise your voice a little bit so that I can hear you? So as you can see here, we are moving from speak, which is word or uttering words or talking, into a completely different meaning, which is to raise one's voice. For example, here we have go. If we add out to it, and I think most students are familiar with this word, especially when the teacher is not happy, right? He simply says, go out. That's it, right? Well, we are moving here from movement, which is to go to a certain destination, into moving from a place to another, from in into out. And the opposite, of course, here, we can also say to go in, right. So as you can see here, we have the word or the sentence is composed of two parts. We have the first part here, which is right. We have here first part which is composed of verbs, and the other one which is composed here of adverb, and as you can see here, right. So here the second example, we have Mary set up an office there. We have here set, which is a verb, and we have up, which is a preposition. And as you can see here, sometimes a phrasal verb has an idiomatic meaning. The meaning it conveys depends upon the preposition or adverb used along with the verb, which means each verb, when we add a preposition to it or an adverb, the meaning completely changes, which means we move from one meaning, the basic one, into another one. And this is how we create more verbs and more things. Just for your information, concerning the phrasal verb is mostly used by native speakers, which means the people whose mother tongue or the first language is English. That's why they use these kind of verbs in order to communicate and make things easier between them. For example, here, let's have a look at this example. We have Mary set up an office there. As you can see here, the word is composed of two entities. We have number one, which is a verb, and we have number two, which is it can be preposition and it can be an adverb as well. But what you have to bear in mind, that we have to know, is that when we have a verb, this combination of verb and preposition or adverb, it gives us the phrasal verb, and of course set up gives us the meaning of to establish something, to create something, or to build something, right? So this is all about these words concerning the phrasal verbs, right? The phrasal verbs, of course, often have idiomatic meaning. For example, the meaning they convey depends on the preposition, adverb used along with the verb. So in order to make it more practical, let's have a look at the verb to go. And by the way, when you have verb, when you go into dictionary, you're going to have go. In the dictionary, look for it, you're going to have at least 3 or 4 pages just with the verb go. And all the information that you've got, all the derivation, as we call it, using the phrasal verbs. Right, so let's have a look at the first one, but before, explaining these verbs, or these phrasal verbs, let's have a look at the prepositions that are used here. We have the first one, as you can see, we have about. Here we have the same verb, it's go, right? And here we have different prepositions and adverbs. For example, here in the first one we have about, against, into, over, under, along with. And as you can see, we have the same basic verb, but with different prepositions, right? For example, here, if we have go about, what does it mean to go about? Means to do something, right, in a certain way. To go against someone means to oppose it. It means to be not in his favor. To go into means to discuss in detail, right, which means to discuss words or topic in detail and so on. To go over means to review and memorize something, and this is what you really should do as students during these days. You have to go over your lessons that you did before with your teachers before the school has stopped, and of course you have to go over the lessons that we are giving you now, through this initiative, right? So we have here to go under means to close down, and to go along with means to agree with something or with someone, which means to have the same opinion, to have the same points, the shared ones, right? All right then. So as you can see, the verb go combined with different prepositions here, okay, or adverb, forms a phrasal verb with distinct meaning, which means they give us meanings which are completely different from each one. For example, to go about is different from to go against, and so on and so forth. Right. Now, sometimes a phrasal verb is separated by other words, and this usually happens when a pronoun is used. So be careful with this situation here, and let's study this example. We have Sheila brought up the matter. So as you can see, Sheila here, this is the subject. Here we have brought up, this is the phrasal verb, and the matter, this is the object. Right. So until now, everything is fine. But if we want to replace, for example, the matter, which is the object, we use the pronoun in this sentence like this one here. We have Sheila brought it up, which is, be careful with the position of it. It's between the verb and the preposition that you've got there, which means if we follow the logical order, we're going to say Sheila brought up it. But this sentence here is not correct, which means we have to take this pronoun and put it here between the verb and the preposition or the adverb according to the verb that, the situation that you've got. So this is what you have to bear in mind, and be careful with this kind of things. Right. Now we're going to move now to talk about the phrasal verbs with their meanings, with the most used ones, of course. So we have the first one here. Just be careful with that. We have here, let's have a look at this one here. We have out, preposition in. We have out here. We have on, up, into, another up here, on and up. And be careful here, concerning the verb, we have put, and we have another one here. As you can see, we have different preposition, which affects, of course, the meaning of this sentence. Right. So let's have a look at the first one. We have handout. It means to, right, problem here. Right, means to distribute. For example, when teacher hand you out the papers for students and stuff, and we have here when the students have finished their tests, they submit it or they hand it in to their teachers. And we have here put out, fire. For example, when there is a fire, the firemen come and put it out, which means extinguish it and put an end to that fire. We have here to rely on, means to depend on someone. For example, when I have my close friend or my best friend, I can rely on him or on her, because whenever I need her, whenever I need his or her help, she's always there or he's always there to help me. So I use the verb rely on. To do up means to beautify, means to make things beautiful or to redecorate. For example, I'd like to do up my house, which means to make it more beautiful, more enjoyable and clear and better for me to live in it, right? To break into means, right, before that we have backup. Backup means to support someone and to encourage somebody. It's like what parents are doing now. They are backing you up, which means they are helping you, they are giving you all necessary things that you need so that you can, you can be better in your life, in your studies, and they encourage you as well. To break into, for example, when we have a person who does, right, when we have a person, for example, a robber or someone like that who enters by force into houses, to eat up here means to finish eating, which means you finish your food. I said, okay, I ate up, right? And the last one here, we have to put on, which means to wear clothes. For example, the students put on their school uniform, then they go to school, which means to dress up or to wear clothes, right? Sometimes, all right, okay, fine. Right? So it's the practice time. As you can see here, we have to fill in we're going to have an exercise just to check if you understood our today's lesson. So as you can see, we're going to have many sentences. The first one here is Jonathan didn't for the interview yesterday because he was sick. As you can see, we have here 3 choices. The first one, bring about. Number 2, carry out. And number 3 is show up. What what I advise you to do is you can use your dictionary to look for words that you don't understand. I think you have many online dictionaries as well as dictionaries that you can buy from bookstores, right? The second sentence here is MSF, right? As you can see, we have space here. We have médecins sans frontières. And be careful here, we have the first one here. We have the M. We have here, médecin. We have S. We have sans. And we have F, frontière, right? So you have the choice here between picks up, stands for, and calls for. So you have to understand the context of the sentence in order to give the correct answer, right? The third one, number 3, our teachers intend to, we have make up, put on, or set up a new English club. Number 4, Jamal jogging after having broken his leg. Of course, the one who has his leg broken, of course, he can't go jogging, which means what we're going to do here is it looked up, broke down, or gave up. And the last one, Lina is my best friend. I can always, her, is it look into, take after, or rely on, right? So I give you some time to do this exercise here. Then we're going to meet after 2 minutes. Right? So the 2 minutes are over. So let's go through these examples, this exercise. Number 1, Jonathan didn't for the interview yesterday because he was sick. What was your answer? So it's show up. That's correct, which means he came after, or he was there, he was present there to attend that interview. The second one, MSF, Médecins Sans Frontières. So what do you think? Right, that's it. It stands for, that's correct. So whenever we have these abbreviations here, and here we have the full name, we use this one. We use the phrasal verb stands for. Just to show that this is the complete definition of these words. Number 3, our teachers intend to set up a new English club. That's correct. We have already seen this one while during the explanation section. And number 4, Jamal gave up jogging after having broken his leg, which means give up here means to stop or not to do it or to do something anymore, right? And the last one, Lina is my best friend. I can always, of course, it's rely on her because she's always there to help me whenever I need her help. Number 6, as the school bus, the students had to walk 5 kilometers to school. We have here turned down, broke down, or found out. Number 7, the boys got scared and when the dog started barking, is it run into, run away, or made up? Sentence number 8, Amin was afraid of being punished, so he, a story to justify his absence. Is it took up, gave up, or made up? Sentence number 9, I really don't him on this point. Is it turn down, agree with, or look after? And the last sentence, number 10, I really don't know how to, this application form. Is it look up, turn down, or fill in? So I give you some time to think about the solutions or answers for these questions. All right, so it's time to correct. Number one, we have here, as the school bus, right, it's broke down. Number two, the boys got scared and when the dog started barking. So the correct answer is it's run away, because you know when the boys see a dog coming into them, of course the logical action here is to run away, of course, so as not to be caught by that dog. Number 8, Amin was afraid of being punished, so he made up a story to justify his answer. Here, make up or to make something up is like to invent a story to justify something that someone has done in order to hide it from the other one so as not to be punished. So as you can see here, because in this situation, Amin was afraid of being punished. Why? Because that's why he made a story to justify his absence. Concerning number 9, we have here, I really don't him on this point. So the correct answer is agree with. Here, as you can see, to agree with here is think that you, of course, to have the same opinion, and which means that when we have the same opinion, we say agree with, and we have the different one, we say disagree. So we have here, of course, turn down. It's not convenient here because it means to refuse something, and look after means to search or to look for something or for someone. And concerning the last exercise here, the last sentence, we have here, I really don't know how to fill in this application form. We use it here. Of course, we have the choices between look up, turn down, and fill in. Well, of course, I explained turn down in the previous example, which means to refuse something. And as you can see here, it's in the same, in the first example here, we have it turned down. And be careful because here it's conjugated, and here it's not, and here the same, which means you have to expect that the phrasal verbs, sometimes they are conjugated and sometimes they are in the infinitive form. Like the same thing here in this example number 7, as you can see, we have here run, which is in the simple past, which is an irregular verb. We have the same verb here, but different, as I explained before, concerning the reported speech, that we have the same base verb, but prepositions are different, which means they give us a different meaning, of course. And we have here made up. Made up here is the same thing as you can see it here. We have here made up, and we have which means to create or to invent a story or something like that. Here, for example, we have this verb here, gave up. To give up means to stop doing something, right? Which means this verb is not convenient in number 8. So, of course, you know, concerning the phrasal verbs, they have different meanings, they have different ways of to be expressed, which means we have to, the only thing that I advise students to do is to learn them by heart and use them in different contexts. Because, you know, here, as you can see, concerning the verb, the first one that you've got here, concerning broke down, has relation with the bus and, of course, the means of transportation when they are not working anymore or they no longer work. And the same thing can be applied in terms of machines, electronic devices, and all these kind of things, right? So, be careful here. You have to know that reported, concerning the phrasal verbs, you have to know, you have to memorize them, to learn them by heart, and you have to make them, you have to be aware of their uses according to the context they are going to be put on, right? which means you have to learn them by heart. So as you can see here, this is all about the phrasal verbs. Thank you for your attention, and please, for more lessons, please follow us on this site here, www.soutien.gov.ma. Thank you for your attention, and see you in another lesson. Good luck.